It is very rare that both you and I are thinking the same exact thing. We don't have to say it. We don't have to whisper it. We don't have to signal it. Because today, we're both thinking the same exact thing. We share the same exact sentiment. That sentiment, quite frankly, is...
So it begins.
Yep, that's us. Sitting atop that Helm's Deep wall, looking out, seeing those legion of orcs banging their sticks. And those orcs, for me, represent most of the YouTube commenters. Welcome back. I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a year. I know you're well rested. But for the rest of you, those orcs out there on the battlefield represent another year of taking on the behemoths known as the NFL and the NHL. And that brings you back for another year here on the channel, another journey, so to speak. Journey, one of my favorite words, which has morphed from like Christopher Columbus was on a journey across the Atlantic to now we say, it's my weight loss journey, which entails just taking a syringe and shoving it in my stomach, end of journey. But not for us. We are just starting our journey because the NFL starts this week. We got the Cowboys taking on the Eagles in Philly. Philly's going to be defending that Super Bowl title at home. And then you want to know where we're going Friday? Guess where we're going? I'm not going there, but guess where we're going? If you need a hint, just watch any YouTube video I've ever uploaded because the same comment is on every single video I've ever posted for 3 years. Doesn't matter if it's a comedy podcast and I'm talking about the movie Annabelle. This guy is dropping the same comment, which I appreciate because all engagement helps. Just a quick reminder, like the video, comment, subscribe. And if you need something to comment the same thing that this guy has commented on all my videos. And you know what it is. Come to Brazil. I don't know who this is. I don't know why he wants me to come to Brazil, but he puts it on every single video. He'll probably put it on this video. Well, sir, your hard work has paid off. No, I'm not going to be in Brazil, but the NFL, they heard your message and they listened. The NFL's coming to Brazil on Friday. We got the Chargers taking on the Chiefs. Great matchup on Friday. We got the opening game on Thursday. But before we talk about those, we got some other stuff. We got some futures to kind of brush up on because last year when I opened up this video, I came with the Flag Plant Player of the Year. I came and I said, James Cook is my Flag Plant Player of the Year, whether you're talking about fantasy or futures. The over 3.5 rushing touchdowns for James Cook is the best bet you could make from a futures perspective. Not only did he win that bet by week 5, but he ended up with the most rushing touchdowns in the entire NFL. And why do I bring that up? Because now you're expecting another Flag Plant Player. That's the way things work. You give people the best thing ever. They want now the best thing ever yet again. So did I bring somebody? Did I bring my Flag Plant Player of 2025? Yes, I did. My Flag Plant Player of the 2025 season, someone who I will take the over on his receiving yards, the over on his receiving touchdowns, and I'm even going to sprinkle most receiving yards in the league and most receiving touchdowns in the league. Look, I know how you guys want to own the Bellagio with a $10 bet. I know you want huge bets, and then you blame people like me for putting out a plus 5,000 because you expected to randomly win it. But regardless, my Flag Plant Player of the Year is Marvin Harrison Jr., somebody who apparently was the highest rated wide receiver prospect in like 20 years. And he had a lackluster year in regards to what he was expected to do last year. He was outperformed by McConkey, Neighbors, Brian Thomas. But this year, second year in the system, not much target competition. And the Cardinals were offered 3 first-round picks before that draft for Marvin Harrison Jr. They declined it. They didn't bring in any other receivers. He plays in a great environment, indoors, Arizona. The stage is set for him to take that jump that everybody expected him to be in that upper echelon tier immediate, that CeeDee Lamb tier. Exactly what Neighbors did last year. They were expecting that from Marvin Harrison Jr. It didn't happen, but I think the opportunity is there. That's a plus 5,000 bet for most receiving yards. You wanted a big number? We'll start you with a big number. Now, I do want to mention that if you watched the episode of A Dave and a Dan a couple weeks ago, we brought up some futures. We brought up some low totals that kind of were like the James Cook low total. You guys know me, whether it's individual games or any, I love low total, easily surpassable total. I don't want the Saquon Barkley over 1,400 rushing yards. I want attainable numbers that can be, I don't know, won by week 5 like James Cook. And I brought up 2 that stood out. One was Aaron Jones over 3.5 rushing touchdowns, same number as James Cook, because I'm not buying this Jordan Mason goal line scheme. Sure, he'll get goal line looks, but Aaron Jones will get his share as well. Over 3.5 rushing touchdowns. I just want to bring that up once again because ESPN Bet put it out and it was at a better price than FanDuel. So now you can get it at -115. And the other one, Isaiah Pacheco, over 4.5 rushing touchdowns. I think that's still only on Caesars. We saw him put in a rushing touchdown in the preseason. He looks to be in that pre-broken leg form, and over 4.5 is a great number for him. So you have those 2 low totals, Marvin Harrison, and then, because I know, like nobody has the patience to wait a full season. Like the word futures, no. If it's in the future, I don't want to bet it. I want to be a millionaire tomorrow or I'm not betting. I literally think DraftKings understands you people now. They came up with quick futures. They're like, they're not betting the futures. These people have zero patience. What can we do? Okay, yeah, just do a quick future. So now they have quick futures. Most receiving yards after 4 weeks, most rushing yards after 4 weeks, most passing touchdowns after 4 weeks. I have an outside shot for you. Most rushing yards after 4 weeks. I'm going to take a guy whose backup is on IR, so this player is going to have a full 3-down workhorse role. You're going to get plus 5,000 on the odds. But considering the situation, I'm going to go with Tony Pollard, most rushing yards through 4 weeks. Tajay Spears is on IR. We know Tony Pollard, who had a great year last year, they'll give him a bunch of touches as they did last year, and he has breakaway speed. He is that kind of guy where if a couple holes get opened up and he takes a couple, to the house, you're talking about 4 weeks. Sure, over the course of a season, the Saquons and whatnot of the world, yeah, they'll get, but if he has 4 big weeks early, I think the plus 5,000, it's a calculated sniff. If Tajay Spears wasn't on IR, I wouldn't take it. But since we know he's pretty much getting 99% of the time, well, why don't you take Jonathan Taylor then? Yeah, sure, but look at the odds on Jonathan Taylor. We're getting crazy odds on Tony Pollard. I think it's worth a little sniff. Give a little bit of your sniff to me. So now let's talk about the Thursday game, the Friday game. We're going to start in Philadelphia, where the Eagles are hefty 8-point favorites in this game. And when it comes to spread bets, or as I like to call them, front page bets you don't even have to click on the game and go into them to find, these are regular guys. These are your Dan bets. These are 2,000 calorie bets. They're a MacBook Pro bet. They are Advil after a hangover bet. They're as regular as they come. And most of the time, you're not getting any value. I mean, there's no value in betting spreads other than random I told you so bragging rights to your friends. The good bets, usually you peek behind the curtain. And for this game, I'm peeking behind the curtain. So we know what about the Dallas Cowboys? They're supposed to have an absolutely miserable defense. They traded Micah Parsons. They have no running game. They have Javonte Williams, dusty Javonte Williams on a 1-year deal. Miles Sanders, who was benched in Carolina, and then a rookie in blue. So maybe they'll rotate them. Maybe we'll see if they use one more than the other. Regardless, it's not a running game that's going to scare anybody. And in a game where the Eagles are supposed to win by 8-point spread, then it's likely Dallas, like most of the time the last couple of years, is down playing from behind. When you're playing from behind, you have no running game. What do? You throw the ball. You know how I work. Whether it's futures, whether it's individual games, I like easily attainable low totals. Totals where I feel like a couple weeks down the road, it's not going to be that low. So I want to enjoy it while it is. We did that several times last year, and we're going to do it right here, week 1, with my boy Jake. And Jake is a very funny name. If you're out there and you're thinking you're going to name your kid Jake, just know this. There are only 2 nicknames for Jake. And 80% of you are thinking of nickname number 1. Yes, Jake the Snake, like Jake the Snake Roberts, Jake the Snake Plumber. And then the other 20% is Jake the Fake. So just know, if you name your kid Jake, he's either going to be a snake or a fake. So you probably don't want to choose Jake unless it's tonight. Because tonight I'm going Jake Ferguson over 32.5 receiving yards. This is an absurdly low total. If Dallas is trailing, then I mean, you know you're going to get those easy over the middle completions. Just especially if the Eagles are up big at any point in this game. Just that prevent defense over the middle. Dak loves throwing to his tight end, whether it was Dalton Schultz before Ferguson and now Ferguson. Ferguson just got extended. It's a big part of the team. They don't have a running back who really catches the ball a ton or is a threat out of the backfield through the air. So I'm going to go with that over on Jake Ferguson receiving yards. That was the one that I really like. That was the one I had circled for that game. I thought I was going to move on, but you know me, I'm like, I'm the opposite of a Dan. I'll go to page 9 to find a Google search result that agrees with my claim. And I went to the rushing attempts, and I found one on both sides that I can kind of get behind. On the Cowboys side, I just mentioned their dusty running backs in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders and the rookie Blue. And then I also mentioned that they're 8-point underdogs, not likely to be ahead. So you tell me how dusty Javonte Williams is getting to 11 carries. If they're getting to 11 carries on the ground, this game is like a one-score game, or they're playing from ahead. And now I just mentioned, many times that the NFL has a ton of rats. It can happen, but I don't think it's overly likely. I'm going to go with the under 10.5 rushing attempts for Javonte Williams. Like I said, we don't even know if they're going to give him a considerable role. You don't know if they're going to rotate series. They claim he's going to have a big role. But we watched him play last year. That guy needed 20 carries to get to 20 yards. I'm not too concerned. I'm going to go with the under 10.5 rushing attempts for Javonte Williams. And then on the other side, on the Eagles side, this is a more fun kind of theory. A little tinfoilish here. If you remember, in the offseason, they brought in all the owners to vote on the tush push. Something happened at the last minute, and they didn't get enough votes. So the tush push, which it was reported likely to be banned. No, it survived. And then you saw the Eagles PR team put out like these snarky messages and whatnot. I think the Eagles are going to have a good time on national TV shoving it up everyone's ass how much they're going to tush push, which means give me the over 8.5 rushing attempts. I saw it at plus 105 for Jalen Hurts. I mean, forget about the tush pushes. Early in the season, game 1, that's the healthiest version of Jalen Hurts you're likely to get. So, you have the chances of him running naturally. And then you have all the potential tush pushes that I feel like they might, shove in the league's face by really using. I'm talking about 3rd and 3. Tush push on 3rd down, tush push on 4th down. And maybe we could even get into those alt rushing attempts. But I'll go for the over 8.5 rushing attempts for Jalen Hurts. Now let's listen to the YouTube comments. Let's go to Brazil. Let's go to Brazil for some Chargers. Kansas City to Kansas City on the wrong side of that Super Bowl loss. And one thing that I like to do, I just talked about front page spread bets. While I don't give a ton of spread bets, one thing that I love to do, and we're going to do it once again on a Dave and a Dan, just point out the rats. I told you guys, one of the best reasons that hockey is awesome to bet on is rats don't live on ice. Usually, what you expect that guy on the power play, he'll be on the power play. He's going to give you those. A lot of what you expect is what you end up getting. The rats don't really live on ice. Panthers are a better team than so-and-so. The Panthers are winning that playoff series. Football is the opposite. Like, you can see a spread that doesn't make sense, and we see a little bit that we're talking about the Chiefs here, -3 against the Chargers. Neutral stadium. I think everybody's going with the Chiefs here. I'm going to go with the Chargers +3. The Chargers always play the Chiefs tough. So many of these games end on a field. Would I like 3.5? Absolutely. I would love +3.5. But if you're giving me +3, Harbaugh gets a little better every single year. Had a great year with these Chargers. I expect them to be even a little bit better than last year in a neutral site game. In Brazil, I'm going to go with the Chargers at +3, but I got stuff that I definitely like behind the curtain in this game. More low totals, more easily attainable totals. Now, we've been hearing that the Kansas City Chiefs, they're bringing back the explosive offense. Get ready for early Mahomes. Yeah, he's throwing for all these yards. They're going to be a high-flying offense. Good, I hope that's the case. Because if that's the case, they're scoring, and then they're going to have to get matched on the Chargers. So we have some alt opportunities in this game. I like one guy a lot on each team. Where do you want me to start? Let's start with the Chargers. The Chargers had a little reunion with one of their best receivers from a couple of years ago. I mean, it was just 2 years ago that he was there. Keenan Allen makes his return to the Chargers. While you can obviously say McConkey got there last year, he's going to be the dominant player. Keenan Allen clearly has Justin Herbert's trust, especially in these games against the Chiefs where he finds these little zones to get first downs. He's had so many big games against the Chiefs with Herbert in the past. And yeah, sure, McConkey's there, and McConkey's going to command more of the targets. Guess what Keenan Allen's receiving total is? 33.5. 33.5 receiving yards for Keenan Allen in potentially a game. Could this be low scoring? Both of these teams had great defenses last year. Yes, but early in the season, that's likely when you're getting a defense at their worst. The reason they say you're in mid-season form is because you've made your way to mid-season and you've come into form. Week 1 is quite the opposite of mid-season form. It's the earliest season form. So if you're likely to get a bunch of mistakes on offense, defense, it's going to be in week 1. And that could mean to more points in this game. And then also, if you want to go with the conspiracy theory, you're taking the show to Brazil, you want to give them something entertaining, you want to give them points. If there are points in this game, then I like my chances with Keenan Allen. So give me the Keenan Allen over 33.5 receiving yards. I'm really liking that. And then on the other side, we have Rashee Rice suspended for 6 games. So the Chiefs are rolling out Xavier Worthy, who's not even a traditional X receiver. He gets used in a lot of end arounds and screens and gadgety plays. Then we have old Travis Kelce coming out there, been getting slightly worse every single year. He did the classic, I claim I'm in the best shape of my life. That's what you do when you're trying to stretch another year or two. But then who do they have next? They have the guy that I talked about on a Dave and a Dan, Hollywood Brown, who has an absurdly loaded. He's going to be in every 2 wide receiver set. These first 6 weeks are going to provide immense opportunity. So yes, I still like that over 525.5 receiving yards for a season futures bet for Brown. But in this game, 37.5 receiving yards. I love that. Mahomes claims he's throwing again. When you're talking about a traditional wide receiver who can run almost all the routes, the one who's going to be able to do it at the highest level now in game 1 before Rice comes back is going to be Marquise Brown. I mean, I could see them taking 1 or 2 deep shots to him. I could see him. I feel like the whole route tree is available for him, and he's going to be utilized quite a bit. So I'm going to take his over 37.5 receiving yards. Something that I found interesting that I'm going to be utilizing. You guys remember what I used to say? If you don't like anything that I say, you can sniff your own way. I think someone from FanDuel must like my videos because they came out with a little section called Your Own Way. It's like sniff your own way. And I kind of love it because it allows you to add what I like to call juicers. You know how in the NHL, I would just find some fourth liner that is under half of a goal to juice the price of something that I didn't like on its own. Something was minus 130. I'd add under half of a goal for some deadbeat fourth liner on the Ottawa Senators, and then it would bring it down to a manageable like minus 115. Well, I found that this FanDuel Your Way style of betting provides me hilarious juicers that I really like. So I can take a slight alt on a low total, whether that be Ferguson, Keenan Allen, Marquise Brown, and then add one of these absurd head-to-head juicers. What's an absurd head-to-head juicers? For example, give me Keenan Allen. You can choose whatever. 43 receiving yards, and then add head-to-head matchup Marquise Brown, more receiving yards than Juju Smith-Schuster. You can use these random bets that are, I mean, those are unavailable to add in a same game parlay on every other sportsbook. You know my theory with the NHL, when there's a feature they open up on one sportsbook, those are the times you can kind of get them. There's no value on the front page, but I think that we can find some value, I think. We'll find out on this Sniff Your Own Way. And I made a whole bunch of them that I posted on the Patreon. By the way, all these picks, if you're going to complain like, oh, hey man, the price moved. I posted these on the Patreon a little while ago. So if you want to be a supporter of this show, there's no Hershey's ads here. This isn't sponsored by anyone. You want to know who that rink was paid for by? The proud members of the Patreon, the minority owners of this show. And you can be there too. And how do you do that? You go to patreon.com/Andy Francess. That's where I post all the stuff. That's where there's a community of sniffers chatting in the chat rooms. It's pretty enjoyable. I think you'll like it over there, and I obviously appreciate all of your support. But I think before I end the day, I got to give you that pirate parlay. So let's take some of these low totals. And the one I'm really going to go with, because I think he could take some deep, I don't know, he can catch some deep passes. Give me the Marquise Brown, 70 yards. Keenan Allen, 40. Jake Ferguson, 40 as well. That is what I have for you. That for my opening NFL video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're back for it. Wait, how do you know when the next video's out? Do the things I always ask for. Like the video, comment, click the notifications, because we got a Dave and a Dan coming out. I'm going to be talking about those rats, some other bets. I already started to look at them for this Sunday, week 1. I hope to see you guys all over there. If not, I will see you for a Dave and a Dan week 1. Looking forward to it. I will talk to you then.